I would watch Ekta Tiger again if I want to laugh. But if I want to watch a serious movie, I would watch Dhurandhar.
Right.
I've seen Dhurandhar in bits. I think the idea is very good. I mean, it's better than the kind of spy thrillers we got earlier on.
I.K. Gujral, who stopped the Black Ops, how does that affect the organization?
He just lost interest. We are not the ISI. We are not the KGB. Or we are not like the Chinese machine. You got a report, you got an assessment, you give it to the government. What the government does with it is government's business, not mine.
So you don't have a free hand.
We don't want a free hand.
रोमानिया में एक रिफाइनरी में आग लग जाती है, रशिया में रिफाइनरीज के ऊपर ड्रोन अटैक्स हो जाते हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एक रिफाइनरी में आग लग जाती है, एक ऑयल एंड एनर्जी क्राइसिस बनाना चाहता है कोई, और दिस इज जस्ट कोइंसिडेंसेस.
I think beyond a point it ceases to be a coincidence. They want to stop this. Somebody wants to stop oil being processed. Who that is? You have to guess.
I want to understand Pakistan from you. And you said very interesting thing, which was, I don't want to give that wretched country any kind of attention. What is the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, it's only a headache. Remember, we are jihadi Muslims. ये मुनीर ने कहा था ना, तो आप जब ऐसा बोल रहे हो तो where is your dialogue?
26/11 के बाद में हमने रिटेलिएशन नहीं किया, वर्सेस पहलगाम हुआ तो हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर किया.
This is not an operation that they sat down and worked out on the night of April 21. This must have been war game over and over again. Who will do when, where and what? They had fixed the targets. They had fixed the timing. They had fixed everything. So we had a purpose. We had worked at it and we did it.
दुनिया में कुछ ऐसे लोग होते हैं जो कि अपने देश को सुरक्षित रखने के लिए किसी भी हद तक जा सकते हैं. इन्हें अपने देश से इतना ज़्यादा प्यार होता है कि ये कुछ सोचते नहीं, ये सिर्फ अपने देश के लिए काम करते हैं. और जब बात आती है अपनी बहादुरी के किस्से सुनाने की, तो वो इससे भी मुखर जाते हैं, क्योंकि उन्हें अपने देश से इतना ज़्यादा प्यार है कि वो किसी भी चीज़ को एक्सेप्ट नहीं करना चाहते. बट वी ऑल नो इन द शैडोज दे हैव केप्ट इंडिया प्रोटेक्टेड ऑल द टाइम. नमस्ते, जय हिंद. मेरा नाम है जयेश गंगन और ये है द अवारा मुसाफिर शो, एक ऐसा पॉडकास्ट जहां हम बात करते हैं भारत के पास्ट, प्रेजेंट और फ्यूचर की. आज के इस पॉडकास्ट पे मेरे गेस्ट है फॉर्मर RAW चीफ विक्रम सूद सर. इस पॉडकास्ट पे हम बात कर रहे हैं धुरंधर की, हम बात कर रहे हैं एक था टाइगर की, हम बात कर रहे हैं एस्पियोनाज की दुनिया की, और साथ ही साथ हमने विक्रम सूद सर से जाना कि वेस्ट एशिया में एग्जैक्टली इस वक्त क्या हो रहा है, अमेरिका और इजराइल के गोल्स क्या है, ईरान का इस वॉर को लेके क्या अचीवमेंट है और क्या उनके लिए आगे आने वाले प्रॉब्लम्स है. इसी के साथ हमने जाना कि पाकिस्तान को लेकर विक्रम सूद सर की क्या सोच है, क्या राय है, क्या ओपिनियंस है, और हमने जाना कि ऑपरेशन सिंदूर में भारत ने एग्जैक्टली क्या किया था. ये पॉडकास्ट एक बहुत ही इंटरेस्टिंग कॉन्वर्जेशन है. आई नो बहुत सारे लोग कंप्लेन करने वाले हैं इस पॉडकास्ट में कि ये इंग्लिश में क्यों है, बट आई प्रॉमिस यू द नेक्स्ट टाइम आई गेट एन अपॉर्चुनिटी टू टॉक विथ विक्रम सूद सर, मैं कोशिश करूंगा कि वो हिंदी में हो कॉन्वर्जेशन. बट फॉर दैट यू नीड टू शो लव ऑन दिस एपिसोड. सो प्लीज़ अपने थॉट्स और कमेंट्स हमें ज़रूर बताना और इस एपिसोड को बहुत सारा प्यार देना, बिकॉज दिस एपिसोड इज विथ वन ऑफ द ग्रेटेस्ट सन्स ऑफ भारत माता. सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर अडू, लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस इन 3, 2, 1.
विक्रम सर, आपका बहुत बहुत स्वागत है इस पॉडकास्ट पे. सर, आई थिंक जितना हमने ऑफलाइन अभी ऑफ द कैमरा हम जो बात कर रहे थे, उसमें ही मेरे पास में ऑलमोस्ट एक पॉडकास्ट का आइडिया है कि हमें किन चीज़ों पे बात करनी है. बट आई थिंक दिस इज़ वन ऑफ दोज अपॉर्चुनिटीज़ फॉर मी जहाँ पे आई गेट टू आस्क यू सो मेनी डिफरेंट थिंग्स फ्रॉम सो मेनी डिफरेंट सब्जेक्ट्स कि मैं खुद को रोक नहीं पाऊंगा. सो यू हैव टू स्टॉप मी एट सम पॉइंट कि बस हो गया. बट सर, फर्स्टली वेलकम ऑन द पॉडकास्ट.
Thank you. Well, I look forward to an exchange and we'll see. I'll answer as many as I can.
Yes, sir.
If I can't answer, I tell you, it's beyond my
Yes.
pay grade.
Yes. So I think जो मेरा रिकॉर्ड है, it is 5 hours. 5 hours पे मुझे गेस्ट ने बोल दिया था कि रुक जा भाई, खत्म हो गया, अब बस हो गया. So you'll have to stop me at some point that अब हो गया. But sir, firstly I want to start this podcast with so are you saying that since the advent of internet, the business of espionage, it has become trickier, more?
Oh yes,
Okay.
oh yes, infinitely. We didn't have smartphones. No Facebook, no WhatsApp, no secret mails, nothing, no email, कुछ नहीं. Whole system of document written in invisible ink, passed on to the handler, who would then go and put chemicals on it to see what's been written on it. Those are our days in the 70s. And that's how we did it. The pace was much slower. The quantity was much slower. Much less than what it is. Now it's, I don't know how they're able to handle.
So essentially, if the quantity was less, then I'm also guessing that filtering out what is actual information and what is just a planted information was also easier back then.
Oh yes.
Now, because there are multiple
You don't know which one
Yeah.
is, and they're so authentic that you don't know
Yeah.
whether it is true. And
internet
I
plus
mean,
AI.
you can say anything you like on this and say Trump said this,
Yeah.
but you don't know whether he is capable of saying anything.
Yeah.
So
And with what Trump has been saying, you can of course
you can normal time not like make out whether it's
Yeah,
him or
yeah.
not. So like that, there are various. This is a cyber or a cyber aspect of the whole thing. Gives you wrong information, sounds authentic, and many of us get carried away with it, and because somewhere it sort of gels with our way of thinking. So you accept that as it's true, whereas it may not be true. Maybe you're also wrong, and this chap is feeding you wrong information to make you feel that you're right. So that is the danger. It's the volume, the information twists that they give.
Yeah.
I remember one of those days I get those are the days when we started going into private channels for news. And early days, I think it was Z, the first one, was it? So I got a call from one of them. Oh, there has been, I saw it on TV, sorry. I saw it on TV. ठीक है, कोई. Then I get a phone call from a minister. आपने वो देखा? मैं जी देखा. फिर आपने बताया नहीं. So I said, सर वो न्यूज़ है, हम इंटेलिजेंस देते हैं. क्या मतलब? मैंने कहा उसको असेस करके, और मेरा नहीं ख्याल ये सही है, ये गलत खबर है. अच्छा, समझ गया.
Right.
So that's how it works. You made your point. First thing is register. Nothing is most more lasting than a visual impact. A visual impact of dead bodies, of debris, of chaos has a greater impact. Whatever you might say verbally or in books, it doesn't have the same impact. वो आपने वो देख लिया and then उसका या आपका impression बना रहेगा. So those who have the control of these systems, they are the best persons to spread stories. I keep telling that, I've said it elsewhere on some other podcasts. You open an Indian newspaper, you turn to the international page. First of all, you can't find the international page. It's never on the same page.
Yeah.
कभी 8 है, कभी 10 है, कभी 12 है, कभी है ही नहीं. तो आप खोले, तुमने न्यूज़ पढ़ी. First news by Reuters, second news by CBS, third news by AP, fourth news by AFP, BBC, somebody else. Nothing, as in nothing, by an Indian newspaper or a Russian or an Iranian. You're only getting news from one side. And your impression is therefore built only on one side. Okay, yahi people mostly then talk about that.
Correct.
Now don't read Hindi papers. I don't know what their international page looks like. So it would be worth finding out what they say. I'm sure Reuters and all have Hindi translators. They are big enough to do all that. So that is how they create an impression on you.
Hmm.
And not only that, I think 90% of the media in the West is owned by 6 or 7 houses. Britain has 5 or 6 houses, and America also. So they're all solidified under a good, happy monopoly.
Hmm.
And अब पॉडकास्ट थोड़ा आता है, थोड़ा फर्क है. You can hear John Mearsheimer
Yeah.
or Dr. Pape and others talk about things. David Sachs, they all talk about their side of the story, and generally not very polite for present U.S. government. That also happens. But there's a whole lot which is coming out, which is, shall we say, Republican loyalists or Trump loyalists who give out their versions. So if you think that if I can tell you what is the correct one, sorry. I've just read it, but I don't know.
Right. But
That's
so, tell me something about the newspaper thing that you were talking about. In the unending game, you have written this that बहुत साल पहले एक न्यूज़पेपर था, अगर मैं नाम सही ले रहा हूँ, द पेट्रियट, in which I think the KGB had planted a story that AIDS was a disease that was created by the Americans, and that newspaper, it was just a very short story in that newspaper, and it got picked up by the people, but there was no truth to that story. How easy it is to do things like these?
I think it's, it depends on the integrity of the paper.
Okay.
And it also depends on, if it's a major newspaper, he will not accept
Hmm.
unless he has sources. Or it's a story that he believes in, the editorial staff believes in the story. So it may be embellished or twisted, then he will carry it. But the Chota newspaper, the Vichara, he's trying to make some money out of it. Some sensational news is good for him. So it may be easier to insert that in a smaller paper. But the Bada Bazaar will probably not do it like that unless they're ideologically committed to that point of view, which happens. So, this is our way of doing things.
Right. But are news portals, newspapers, news agencies funded by intelligence agencies? Like, for example, I've heard that CIA has funded a lot of these newspapers. In fact, I've also read this somewhere that there were CIA special agents who used to write headlines. There was a whole office where they used to sit down and write headlines. Is this true?
I think it is true because let's say Hollywood, for instance. Pentagon and CIA had liaison officers posted in Hollywood to try and to tell them what is wrong with their story, embellish it, twist it, enlarge it, or give ideas. Top Gun Banalo movie is a good thing, huh? Or Zero Dark 30, you can make a film like that.
I think जॉर्ज ऑरवेल की वो बुक के ऊपर जो फिल्म बनी थी उसका एंडिंग चेंज कर दिया था. I think 1983 it was, yeah.
Could be, yeah.
Yeah.
They're there. And actually, Pentagon got there and straight after the World War II.
Okay, that early on.
They knew that this is going to be a big, huge weapon, shall we say, for information warfare. And CIA was created only in 1947, so they got their thing going a little later. But they have a regular liaison with them, change of dialogue. take them, the Pentagon would take them to the actual airfield, actual F-16. They could ride in that. And there was a time when people like some two actors they named had a free run inside the CIA building, much to the horror of the uh, the CIA veterans. You know how these guys are roaming around inside my office.
So, do you think with Dhurandhar, this is a similar kind of way that India is going in, wherein we have seen that CIA had this liaising officer who was sitting inside Hollywood, and now we have a Dhurandhar, which is showing India's story, which is showing India's side. Do you think India is going the same way?
Well, I think we need to.
We need to.
Yep, absolutely. If you want to be, you don't want to be superpower, but if you want to be even a regional power that has its word spread, then you must have the means to do it, no? You must do it thoroughly, at a much higher scale. And I'm glad I've seen Dhurandhar in bits. And one day I'll sit down and watch the whole thing. But I think the idea is very good. I mean, it's better than the kind of spy thrillers we got earlier on. Roaming around with a nuclear detonator in the hills of Kashmir. That was, I think, this famous actor, Amir Khan.
Yeah.
And he's being chased by the security also on their skis and running around up and down. And he's got this absurd thing like that. And then we've had Tiger Zinda Hai.
So can I ask you this blasphemous question, and on a very lighter note, this is, have we had agents who are romanticizing or having romantic moments with ISI agents?
No.
I mean, where does this audacity come to show something like this?
Because they want to show how good ISI is.
But why would you want to show that while you're living inside India? I mean, if you're showing that, then isn't it very clear that you either are ideologically heftily on that side, or you are getting some kind of monetary benefit?
Or you're genuinely, quote unquote, liberal.
But since when did...
No, जैसे they say in Punjabi, की फर्क पैंदा है? What difference does it make? यार मूवी तो है, लोग खुश हैं यार, so you लगाओ that, but it's not a possibility in real life unless you planted that man to do this, and she is, or he is, if that is how it is, whose father or her uncle or his uncle is placed in an organization in which you are interested. He is working at the nuclear thing or in the GHQ. Then it's worth it. Then you're doing an operation.
Right.
But if he's going to run off on a spin of his own, then it's hard luck. You're finished. So that's the difference between true love for the organization.
Right. But so tell me about this, because I want to understand, how does the world of espionage looks from the inside? I know you cannot, of course, give me all the information and details, but for a layman, they have seen two kinds of films now. One is your Ek Tha Tiger, one is Dhurandhar. Which comes, of course, Ek Tha Tiger does not come close, but just for the sake of this question, which film comes closer to real espionage operations?
Well, Tiger doesn't.
Of course.
Dhurandhar does in its concept.
In its concept.
The Black Ops. And of course, there's what I saw was excessive violence, but that's okay. That's how they want it. But this is how, that is more, shall I say, professional. Not just song and music of Bombay commercial. So, and I would watch Ek Tha Tiger again if I want to laugh. But if I want to watch a serious movie, I would watch Dhurandhar.
Right. I think this is going to be the tagline of this podcast. But so you talked about Black Ops. If I'm not mistaken, I think it was I.K. Gujral who stopped the Black Ops. How does that affect the organization when the Black Ops are
You know,
completely stopped?
there is a controversy on this. I don't think he stopped anything.
Okay.
He just lost interest. So, you know, when you want to, you sometimes have to approach the PM for approval, even verbally. So you become hesitant. He's a peace snake, he won't approve it. So best to lie low. That is my impression, but of course many say he said nothing doing. But when I used to meet him afterwards, after he had retired, after he had quit and I had retired, and I used to write articles in the Hindustan Times, he told me, he said, अच्छा लिखते हो. तो मैंने कहा पर आपकी तो व्यू फर्क है सर. नहीं, वो अलग बात है. वो दिखाने के लिए अलग बात है. अच्छा लिखते रहो. So maybe there was some political deal coming up with the Pakis that he wanted this to be lowered. So who knows?
Right.
Who knows the politics of the whole thing? We are not the ISI. We are not the KGB, or we are not like the Chinese machine that we will act on our own report. Our function ends. You got a report, you got an assessment, you give it to the government. What the government does with it is government's business, not mine.
So you don't have a free hand.
We don't want a free hand.
Okay, you don't want a free hand.
You don't want to take action on your own report, which may or may not be correct, which may not be politically desirable. And we're working for the same government. Even if you don't agree what the government is going to do, it's necessary to have the political arm of the government on your side. Or you be on their side. You say, okay, this is my information. This is what we can do. This is what we should not do. It's for them to decide.
But then when we have had let me think, how can I put this question? So when we have had prime ministers, vice presidents who have given out information about our assets, about our agents, and their lives were threatened. I mean, this is what I've heard. Even then, the organization never retaliated, or there was no kind of action post retirement of those politicians as well. Why was this decision made that we won't go against them?
You know, it acts as a escalation. You take action, newspapers pick it up, that thing becomes louder, more stories come out, more peshies, more discussion. You'll have another podcast, somebody else will have another podcast. Just leave it. Don't talk of your successes. Better to be known by your failures. Full stop. So there may be 10 operations that we have succeeded in, and one has failed. What to do? And the person that you are referring to is not an RAW man, not an IB man. So we have no control over him. So it's for them to do anything. They have to do it. We can't. So let it die its own. After some time, loses interest. But if you उधेड़ो, तो फिर बात उछल के आती है. Best policy is चुप करके.
But then what does that, I mean,
Unless he's done something which is very, very vital to your strategic and tactical interests. Atomic secrets. Or something like that.
but sir, giving out list of names of your assets, of your agents that are posted in that country, जिसको हम
उसके
enemy
पास
कहते
लिस्ट
हैं.
कैसे आएगी यार? How does a man who doesn't work with the system have a list of those guys? He doesn't. Those lists are not, unless we have given it to him.
Okay.
समझे ना? उसने सारे एक्सपोज कर दिए. कैसे भाई? उसको किसने बताया? So that aspect is rubbish. But if he's gone and exposed a name or two, what happens? It happens all over the world. That you get exposed,
Right.
and in the intelligence business, you can sniff the other guy out. He's not the real foreign service. We can spot an American, we can spot a Britisher,
How do you sniff them out?
Huh?
How do you sniff them out?
Yeah, he's everywhere, is to be seen everywhere, but doesn't. I mean, outside his portfolio is everywhere. He has a better house, maybe, little more money to spend. So,
So there are traits.
there are traits.
Right.
So, pata lag jata hai. We don't tell him that you're so-and-so. He doesn't tell me I'm so-and-so, but it works. The biradri chalti hai.
Right. आपकी एक बुक थी, आई थिंक द फर्स्ट बुक द अनएंडिंग गेम, उसमें आपने एक लाइन लिखी थी, इन द स्ट्रिक्टेस्ट सेंस अ स्पाई हु कंप्लीट्स अ प्रोडक्टिव करियर विदाउट बीइंग डिस्कवर्ड एंड सेटल्स डाउन टू अ क्वाइट रिटायरमेंट इज अ सक्सेसफुल स्पाई. By that definition, I think you are the most successful spy, sir.
I don't know. Thank you for the compliment. But no, actually, what I meant was the guy who actually does the spying. We are the fellows who handle the spy. Is the guy who actually goes and does what you tell him to do. He doesn't get caught. He doesn't get under suspicion. He's not declared persona non grata or whatever. And then he quietly disappears into the woodwork and nobody knows about him. So there are many cases like this where they say, Rudolf Abel was the best spy, one of the most successful spy. Of course, the Americans say, no, he got nothing really from us. But actually, he was a big catch for them. And it happened because his assistant ratted on him. And he started his journey from Moscow, I think. Or was it St. Petersburg? One of these places. An ordinary, very nondescript man. And took a train from, I think, Leningrad station in Moscow, Warsaw. There he was given a new identity, Coyotes. From there he went to Montreux, Switzerland. From there he went to Le Havre in Paris, France, took a boat, landed in Montreal, reached Montreal. He got another identity from the local illegals, as they call them. And then he came to USA. There he got his final identity. I keep forgetting his name. It wasn't Abel. And he stayed there under a different name. Thereafter, I wish I could recall his name. Thereafter, he worked on the Manhattan Project couriers would come, give him reports, and he would file them and send them away till his own number 2 spilled the beans, and he was picked up by the FBI. So far, he was successful getting information on Manhattan. Stalin wanted his A-bomb as early as possible. So he had 3-4 identities. The last one was... then he sent off... Then the newspaper report said Colonel Rudolf Abel of Soviet military intelligence arrested. Now the catch here is that when he uses the Rudolf Abel, there was no Rudolf Abel. That was a signal to Moscow that I have been picked up, but I have not revealed anything. So that you be rest assured that, what I'm going to do is not going to let you down. And then he was exchanged with Francis Gary Powers after 62. So those are spies that are great, but not the greatest. Philby was a very successful spy. He gave the Russians any amount of information. And he was slated to be number 2 in the MI6 one stage. Maybe even the chief that he got picked up. And at Manhattan, there was another spy. I wish I had checked out the names. He finished his job in Manhattan. He is the perfect spy in my sense. Finished his term, got into the train, went to Canada, took a boat. Nobody knows what happened after that. Went to Moscow and finished. He had done whatever he could to pick up all the documents that were needed from Project Manhattan so that Russia could use it to make their bomb. So those are the old spy stories of that era when the Cold War was not just blooming, but it was really, really hard. And so there are many spies of various kinds who do work for 2 agencies or 3 agencies at the same time. Richard Sorge was one. He worked for the Japanese, he worked for the British, he worked for the Russians, he worked for the Germans at the same time. किसी को कुछ देगा, किसी को कुछ देगा, किसी को कुछ देगा, and keep his thing going. He also got picked up by Stalin. After it gave him very good information about what the Europeans are up to. But he was picked up nevertheless because Stalin didn't like him. So these are the spy stories of that era.
Right. But so, as far as I understand, this business of espionage, it is essentially also a business of gathering information, gathering intelligence. Now, in the modern times, or even in the past, I don't know if this sort of system ever existed or not. But are there also private firms, like there are mercenaries? Are there also private firms that act as your spy agents just to gather information and to sell out that information to any of these countries?
No, we have different kinds of cover for spies. You could have a professor in a college. You can have a commercial person working in a business house who is doing business, who's doing economic spying and also doing his work. His cover work he does thoroughly. And he spies on the economic deals or the technical deals outside of the official circle of espionage conducted by the government. So they are a different category and there are lots of them. There are lots of them. Private military contractors would also have this, which they use it for themselves and also to feed the government if required.
Right.
Because if a PMC has to take action on something, he must have advance information. Logically, he would need a spy on the other side, somebody with him, so that he can do what he has to do. And after the assessment they make about the threat. So PMC is a big business. So this is a privatization of intelligence collection. In fact, the CIA has gone into recruiting from the open market analysts, etc., who would work on their desk, which was previously held by a professional. Because they just as they were expanding, they didn't have the means to get so many people recruited. So they did that. I think even the NSA did it when they were for technical intelligence. And when they download stuff, you know how the Americans, they don't download in small triplets. They download the whole sky, collect it, and God knows what to do with it. Because then you need a machinery or a system which will sift them. And algorithm may give you a particular kind of information. But what is the result of all that?
Right.
Somebody has to then put that thing together and make sense out of it. I'm sure in my time, of course, there was no such thing. I lived in happier times.
Yeah.
There was no internet. There was nothing of that. Virtually no internet. Internet was just being born.
I'll come back to espionage, but there is something which I wanted to talk about because जो आपकी नई book भी है, Great Power Games, it talks about the Western decline. And इस वक्त जो एक हम war भी देख रहे हैं, ईरान की जो war चल रही है, more or less, I think US is not realizing कि they are in that phase where they are on a decline. I want to start this right from our own backyard. हमारे खुद के घर से मैं इसे start करना चाहता हूँ because जो राजस्थान में एक रिफाइनरी है, ऑयल रिफाइनरी, आई थिंक पीएम वाज एचपीसीएल की रिफाइनरी है, पीएम वाज गोइंग टू इनॉग्रेट इट द नेक्स्ट डे और ही वाज गोइंग टू मेक अ विजिट ओवर देयर. एक दिन पहले वहाँ पे आग लग जाती है. एंड इन द पास्ट आई थिंक 10 और डेज, जब तक ये पॉडकास्ट बाहर रहेगा दिस टाइमलाइन विल बी डिफरेंट, बट जब हमें रिकॉर्ड करें इन द पास्ट 10-12 डेज वी सीन दिस हैपनिंग ऑल अक्रॉस द ग्लोब. आई मीन रोमानिया में एक रिफाइनरी में आग लग जाती है, रशिया में रिफाइनरीज के ऊपर ड्रोन अटैक्स हो जाते हैं, ऑस्ट्रेलिया में एक रिफाइनरी में आग लग जाती है. इज दिस एन आर्टिफिशियल वर्क एट हैंड जो कि मतलब एक ऑयल एंड एनर्जी क्राइसिस बनाना चाहता है कोई, और दिस इज जस्ट कोइंसिडेंसेस?
I think beyond the point it ceases to be a coincidence. अब एक ऑस्ट्रेलिया में हो गया, एक इंडिया में हो गया, एक दो हो गए तो ठीक है. I mean, it can happen a day or two. Hot weather and something goes wrong and the wires, the short circuit, etc. But if it's happening, I didn't know that's been happening other places also. Then there is a pattern to it. There is a pattern to it that it is not enough that there is a blockade and there is a ban. The Americans are there, the Chinese are there. They want to stop this. Somebody wants to stop oil being processed. Who that is, you have to guess. So that is possible. All across the globe, you find these, whoever has been, जो किसी को आंख दिखा रहा है तो उसका उड़ा भी दिया. So it might be come back onto your own side. So these things will happen. Besides, I don't think the Americans are very fond of us trying to be Atmanirbhar. The West, by and large, doesn't, but primarily the US. वो तो उनका डेप्टी सेक्रेटरी जो था, I forget his name, he was here at the observe. हाँ, वहाँ बोला ना कि do you think we will help you become? No, we won't. We made a mistake with China. And that's what I'm saying in my book. It is the superpower or the Western powers who need markets, who need resources, and they'll find another competitor coming in for all these. That is their fear. They want an obedient democracy. They don't want a vibrant democracy. They want somebody who will do as they are told, not do as they do.
And what is the extent to which they'll go to stop us?
Well, they have learned their lesson in Iran, I hope. They won't try anything stupid.
Hmm.
But it's in, they don't have to conquer India. It will be difficult to govern. They don't have to defeat India. It's not possible. समझे? So these two are out. Militarily, they can't come in. They कीमा बन जाएगा. So वो नहीं करेंगे. So what do they do? Peg you down. Peg you down. Don't let the parliament function. Don't let business houses. Stop Kalpakam nuclear plant by demonstration. Stop the where this lady used to go for her strikes and on the Narmada. बनाने the dam बना रहे थे जब Sara Patel Dam. She was protesting against that. She would not let Bijli flow to Gujarat. And look at it now. These are NGOs working to slow you down, to create obstacles in your government. The CIA actually had a National Endowment for Democracy.
Yes.
Which was formed after the Church Committee in USA had given a finding that these chaps are interfering far too much. And
Victoria Nuland was heading it.
Sorry?
Victoria Nuland was heading this, NED?
Later.
Yeah.
Much later. So these guys then worked around it, formed a new National Endowment for Democracy, whom they were encouraging to go and operate in other countries and in the furtherance of American interest, whatever that interest might be. Support somebody, pull down somebody, create a disturbance, create a demo. Who do you think did Shaheen Bagh in Delhi?
Yeah.
Farmers' protests. Somebody had organized it.
Right.
It wasn't spontaneous. No riots, no demonstrations of this kind can last that long without money power.
Yeah.
And leadership. You can have it for a day or two, but people got to earn a living. They got to go back home and get some money in the thing and food on the table. So they can't just be sitting out there in dharna for weeks together. And that's a standard operating procedure.
Right.
And it's very well known. It happens. It happens in most countries. And of course, in Latin America, you can just kidnap a president and you solve the problem. In another country, you kill him.
Yeah.
So, but you can't do that here. So this is, pull you down.
Right.
Put some fetters on your legs so that you can slow down. That's all they can do. So when we talk of that, we're going to make our own, export our own, and consume our own. So there is a double whammy for them. बाहर की मार्केट भी गई, इनकी मार्केट भी गई. So their livelihood depends on economic wealth and earnings from abroad. उनकी अपनी population तो कम है. They can't buy that much as we can. A prosperous India will buy more of their own goods and sell more of what they produce. So दोनों तरफ से मार खाएंगे तो नहीं हो सकता ना.
Right.
So this is the thing we'll have to deal with. There is nobody who's going to help you.
So in fact, I was speaking with a forensic accountant. His name is Nikhil Parulkar. I had him on the podcast and he told me a very interesting thing about Shaheen Bagh. He traced few NGOs that were operating from Mumbai, and these NGOs were basically blood banks. Money was coming to these blood banks from foreign soil. These blood banks, they were transferring that money to medical stores in Mumbai, and from those medical stores, this money was getting transferred to people who were around Shaheen Bagh. So of course, this was something which some external powers wanted to happen,
Yeah.
and that's what we saw. And they'll keep doing this.
Yeah, and they'll keep doing it. And a communal riot or any kind of riot does not happen on its own. It is made to happen. There have to be forces which encourage both sides. You can have a roadside brawl here. I mean, we have that all the time in India. मोटरसाइकिल स्कूटर और टैक के साथ टैक्सी का झगड़ा हो गया, मार कुटाई हो गई. It dissipates after 5-10 minutes, half an hour, it is solved and gone. But a riot is a controlled bit of violence where you factored in, you've plotted, you've designed, you've been advised, you've got money, you got weapons. And so it is not a spontaneous thing.
Yeah.
And if your police is inadequately equipped and inadequate in numbers, then it is worse. Then you tend to shoot, which is the last option. You use that first. Naturally, because if you're 6 and 1,000 chaps are coming at you, how do you stop them? So that is unfortunate. Our police to population ratio is much lower बोलना चाहिए कि higher than the one in the United States. They have more cops per person, per 100 person, than we have. It's only our numbers are large because the population is large, but per person we are much lower and not as well equipped with them. They've got those A-15 rifles now, yeah. They carry over from Afghan war.
Yeah.
They've got those kinds of equipment. Then they come home and pick you up and go away. So, हमारे यहाँ भी we have these kinds of problems to handle.
But then, sir, do you also think what is happening in Manipur, that is also being inflamed?
It looks like. Because
we have recently had that arrest as well.
With smugglers mixed
Yeah.
up with things like that, local interests, external interests, maybe even religious interests. So it's a mixture, and it's going to be not going to be easy to solve. But I guess the government is. Who's the governor? They've got a new governor there.
No, I don't think no.
Anyway, so that's there.
Yeah.
And Northeast, by and large, and it's only this government which has been taking their issues up, has been a forgotten part of the country.
Yeah. It's Ajay Kumar Bhalla. Ajay Kumar Bhalla, the governor.
Oh, okay. I don't know who he is. Is he a civil servant, I think?
Yeah.
Okay.
1984 batch IAS officer.
84?
Yeah.
Okay. So he must have retired. No?
But then don't you think that terror tourism, this will increase? Because we've seen this Matthew Van Dyke, that chap, the CIA chap who was arrested in Manipur with 6 other Ukrainians. Then we have recently had 2 arrests in Srinagar. There were 2 Americans who were traveling with a sat phone. And a war like Ukraine, the Ukraine war, it gives you fertile ground from where anywhere in the world you can go to that place as a mercenary. You can train there, and then you can be diverted to any part of the world. So it is becoming more and more easier for these terror tourists to come into India. How do we stop them?
Well, I don't know how to stop them except unless you have a record of their behavior on your visa, on the visa that you give them. How else can you deduce? You probably don't have an embassy in Ukraine. We don't know where they're coming from. He picks up an e-visa or something and then comes in. How do you stop him? How many will you follow?
Yeah.
And when will you call it off? If he is coming in and he's up to no good, he will play safe for a month, 2 months, 4 months, do nothing, just fool around. And the government calls off the surveillance, and then he gets active.
But does this happen in surveillance that you find someone suspicious entering into our borders, entering inside India? You keep a watch on them, you keep a tab on them, and you just stay put. You wait for them to act, you wait for them to show you everyone who is included, and then you finally act when you have enough information.
It depends on the situation.
Okay.
If he's a lone operator, then he's segregated immediately. But if you're looking for a linkage in another terror group or a linkage with another movement, then you wait for him to lead you to second, third, or fourth person.
Okay.
And then when you got the whole thing, then you find that you got everything wrapped up. Then you move and pick up everyone simultaneously. So if they're living in 4 cities, you pick them up the same day.
Right.
At same time, you go and pick them up. That's how we have to do it. And there are many that you and I will never get to know.
Yeah.
Many of them. Which is just as well. Because once they know that they've been picked up, the other side knows that these guys are picked up. They know also that this was the weakness in their system. That's why they got picked up. So next time they will improve and change their way of operation. Then again you start from the beginning because you don't know how it has changed, why it has changed. Why maybe you know, but how you don't know. Best to keep quiet.
Right.
Best not to talk about it. Let the government do what it has to do. And unfortunately, sometimes we run for... we like to be in with the story first. You can't stop that. Sad.
Yeah.
चलो ये तो हो गया.
But
होता रहेगा.
this is, I want to take you back to the Iran war. This war, when it started, it almost seemed like कि शायद मैक्स टू मैक्स 1 हफ्ते में ख़त्म हो जाएगा. इट्स बीन मोर देन 40 days नाउ. ख़त्म होने का नाम नहीं ले रहा. सीज़ फायर होता है, 24 घंटे में टूट भी जाता है, फिर से सीज़ फायर की बातें होती है, फिर से टूटने पे आ गया है. ऑलमोस्ट टूट ही गया है. स्ट्रेट ऑफ हॉर्मुज़ खुलता है, ईरान उसे वापस रोक देता है, उसके पीछे से अमेरिका उसे ब्लॉकेड कर देता है. तो टेक्निकली दिस वॉर मतलब लग ही नहीं रहा कि इसका कोई एंड गोल होगा, क्योंकि वी डोंट नो व्हाट आर इजराइल्स गोल, वी डोंट नो व्हाट इज अमेरिकाज गोल, एंड ऑन द अदर हैंड ईरान इज फाइटिंग बैक, जो शायद किसी ने सोचा नहीं था कि इतने अच्छी तरह से वो फाइट बैक करेंगे. सो व्हाट इज द एंड गोल ऑफ दिस वॉर? व्हाट इज योर एनालिसिस ऑफ वेयर इट इज गोइंग नाउ?
नहीं, the Israelis are after the nuclear thing.
बट देन वंस यू हैव, आई थिंक 25 में भी उन्होंने एक स्ट्राइक किया था, आफ्टर विच ट्रम्प हैड कम आउट, ही हैड सेड कि हमने सब डिस्ट्रॉय कर दिया है. देन अब सेकेंड टाइम उन्होंने कर दिया है, बट स्टिल द वॉर इज नॉट गेटिंग ओवर.
No, they thought they'd make a strike. 3-5 days, the whole thing will be over and we'll go home happy. The thing is that the Iranians are made of a different kind of attitude to life. एक तो the aspect of shahadat is very strong among the Shias by and large. They're ready to fight for a cause. Instead of dividing them, this attack has united them. कि तेरे से तुम बाद में देंगे, पहले we will deal with,
देश को बचा ले पहले.
we will do this first. And, for the last 30-40 years, since 79.
47 years.
47 years. they have worked at it. That these chaps will come after us one day. And Israel has shown that, declared that ever so often, that Iran has no right to exist, and the Iranians say Israel has no right to exist. So they knew one day it would happen. It will come. So they've opted for the cheap counter-offensive and not the swanky, high investment, low results comparatively weaponry. And every time they come, they lose a few billion, these chaps lose a few 100,000. So gradually, that not only is their stock going down, they're losing a lot of money, because if you look at the replacement cost that will come with a better, newer weapon, will be much more. So the Americans have lost there. Maybe it'll keep the industrial base going in a way. The major companies will make money out of that.
Yeah.
But that apart, you made the whole world uncertain. You raised prices. You shut down oil. अभी तो oil का effect हुआ नहीं है.
Yes.
I mean, I think in another few days, when all the oil that has been stored up by most countries will finish, that's when the trouble will really start. That's when the queues will get longer, and there will be street fights wherever. So they have to stop all that. So Iranians have shown that if you're determined, we are too big a country to be defeated. And this rubbish that if you kill the leader, we'll all fall apart, won't happen. We are civilizational. We are not something that happened 250 years ago. So, so they are not going to give up. Never.
So how does this war end?
Sorry?
How does this war end?
How does this war end? I'm afraid Mr. Trump has to go home.
But he won't go home.
Iran ko kya chahiye? They've lost so many things. Their bombardment by the Americans must have been very heavy. They've lost a thing. But they haven't given up.
Right.
For them, I think just being there, survival is the best thing. If they survive this, they won. If America can't get the nuclear thing, they've lost. So he'll have to work out a terminology by which he can say blah, blah, blah. Therefore, I am withdrawing. I've won. I've achieved my goals. He can't. I don't think he has many options left. But उसको समझाएगा कौन?
So operationally, it will be a defeat for America, but they'll have to set the narrative in a manner where they are winning it.
Where I think the Iranians will let them make that narrative.
They'll let them make that narrative.
Or if they make it on their own, they'll just keep quiet.
But do you think with IRGC being divided into these 31 factions, they would let America escape easily?
Sorry, I say that again.
With IRGC divided into 31 parts, these 31 mosaics, do you think they'll let America escape so easily?
I think so. Why? उनको फायदा क्या इनको रखने के लिए?
But when you've lost everything, wouldn't you want something in return? I mean, it could be repartitions or any kind of thing, but why would you let America go so easily?
No, I think the Americans will now do a revenge. इसके बाद भी. They will do, the Kurds in northern Iran, northwest Iran, Syria, Iraq, Turkey, उनको भड़काएंगे. जो यूनाइट करके तो इंडिपेंडेंट बन जाओ. We'll help you.
पर कुर्द्स को तो वो कितने बार ये सेम प्रॉमिस कर चुके हैं ना सर कि हम आपको लैंड देंगे और फिर बाद में वो वापस से मतलब यू टर्न मार लेते हैं. तो व्हाई वुड दे ट्रस्ट देम?
अब ये पता नहीं हमें. दे में वो president बोल रहा है, ये president बोल रहा है, God knows what to do. Or they might encourage the ISIS to get active through the president of Syria today, who was an ex-ISIS man, to do some mischief in Iran. इनको छोड़ेंगे भी नहीं. But the first thing is to get them out, go home, lick your wounds. I mean, if you bring in this military, the ground force, it is still on its way. What will it achieve?
Nothing.
मरेंगे ना. And the Americans don't like body bags. They made so much noise about 14 being killed.
Yeah.
Huh? They don't like body bags. That's why they've always had a proxy fight. Only this time, US is a proxy for Israel. And they're fighting Israel's proxy war.
Yeah.
So they'll just have to go. Otherwise, it'll go on. And can the rest of the world sustain this? Can you have a situation where all of us suffer because of one man's ego? That because I have said so and I will do it, and these chaps know nothing, I'll bomb them to the Stone Age. Now, how do you convince him that this is wrong? It is not sustainable. Was never to be done in any case. Now let's go home and lick our wounds and try and salvage what we've got. Let the others get on with their lives. Because just because you don't like Iran, and you can't jeopardize my way of life. You have no right. You can't starve Africa because you don't like the Iranian governance. This is ridiculous. Even the Europeans are revolting. So the decline is obvious. It is coming sooner than I thought, in a way that was not I had planned for them, but I knew it's going to happen.
See, you've written somewhere in the book that during the fall of Soviet Russia, US intelligence was not ready for that in a manner that they had not imagined something like this could happen, and they are not ready here as well. And this time you are talking about their own decline. How fast do you think this war will fast track that decline of America?
Fast track. Well, empires don't fall immediately.
Of course, they take time.
It takes time. And you've had the necessary war that empires engage in before going down. But they haven't had a fight with a war with their main rivals, Russia and China, except Russia through the proxy of Ukraine. And where also the Americans haven't done too well. There also because they miscalculated Russian abilities and intentions. They presume that we are the best, we can do this, and this will be over. And once we take Ukraine into NATO, nothing will happen. They'll do nothing. That didn't happen like that. They haven't taken China head on. And I suspect China doesn't want it.
Yeah.
Americans don't want it. They will not. The Chinese won't cross over into Taiwan. And the Americans will be quite happy if they don't. They'll find some way of coexistence there. Although many are still arguing that China is, after all, not so good, not so well prepared. I think they are fairly well prepared to take on, if need be, to take on USA, but they will not make the first move. They won't do that.
But
if the US wants to try something funny and and say we got a reason to invade China, try it. But they know that fighting from across the Pacific only with missiles won't do. You learn that lesson from Iran. You have to bring in ground troops. Can you take on the Chinese? So they'll have to work out some via media. And you just cannot, in my book, cannot ignore Russia. Yeah, the sun takes 11 hours to cross it. Imagine the size of the country.
Yeah, it's a huge country.
And look at the resources that they have. Why didn't they in the first go, 1991, say we will help you recover instead of going into this alone, I'm the sole superpower, and get into Belgrade and Yugoslavia and Iraq, Kuwait में करा दिया, Iraq करा दिया. Why do all that? Because there are powers behind powers that make you do that. War, as I've always said, is profitable. Peace is not. So we have been living through an era of forever wars.
Yeah. So I'd like to bring up this topic here because we've all heard about the military industrial complex, but then in the book you have expanded it to a seven-headed thing wherein you have mentioned that it's not just military industrial complex, it is military, industrial, pharma, technology, media, philanthropy, intelligence complex. Can you expand on this, how these work together? And because you have headed R&D.
Technology तो obvious है,
course.
because you WI and all that and AI and all that, that's your technological might, and you are the first ones. You can improve on it much better, much faster than anybody else, and that will give you control of a different kind. Technology तो I have used in that sense. Which is pharma. Pharma is a huge business. Huge business in the US, and what they supply to the others, what they ban the others, where the profits from pharma, the money that they earn, is not necessarily reused in pharma.
We've seen Bill Gates do that.
Yeah. I had that in mind.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got it. I didn't say it. Yeah, that is the pharma. You get control, you get what you want to sell. Now they want to actually reduce population. They say the world cannot sustain 8 billion people. The ideal is 1.5 to 2 billion.
Okay.
How do you get rid of 6 million?
Wars won't do it.
War तो होगी नहीं.
Correct.
Either you reduce the birth, or you reduce the longevity. और कैसे करोगे?
Correct.
So that is pharma. और क्या था?
There is media.
Media, if you want to be a power, you must sell your voice. You must be heard. Must be heard loud and clear all the time. And that's what we have. The media is in their hands. Intelligence, वो तो omnipresent है.
Correct.
Huh?
And then we have philanthropy.
There, we cannot do, you guys can't do without us. This is, और कुछ बचा?
Philanthropy.
हाँ, philanthropy is for profits. आप philanthropy तो कर रहे हो हिंदुस्तान में या अफ्रीका में, तो पैसा जो आ रहा है वो कहाँ जा रहा है? फार्मा के साथ लिंक तो, have you read that book, The Constant Gardener by Jean Le Carre?
I haven't.
There's a movie also. I suggest you see that.
Okay.
It is just that. A company wants to sell its product among the Africans, and this lady finds out, and that's the story. It builds on that. So you'll enjoy it, and that's what pharma does. It sells you its product. It doesn't matter what the after effects might be, but it promises your weight reduction हो जाएगा, हाँ, या memory ठीक हो जाएगी, या appetite control हो जाएगी. These kinds of things. But they rake in the money. It never mind what happens to the guy who's taken those medicines. I'm just using ad hoc. I'm not saying this is exactly what they do all the time, but this is the kind of things they do it. Surgeries are becoming so important, so necessary. X-rays, machines, so many things they do nowadays in hospitals. Because now doctors don't treat you with the pulse and symptomatic and tapping you here and there. They say, report nikalo. So they read the report, they see your MRI report or all those reports and tell you what's wrong with you or not wrong with you. So these are things that they all become a closed club. And they act together. Sometimes 2 of them together, sometimes 3 of them, 4 of them together, they act together. So that is my definition of the expanded military-industrial complex.
So I want you to expand a little bit more on philanthropy, because in the book you have mentioned that Bill Gates spent somewhere around $4.9 billion to transform African agriculture for extreme hunger, and then extreme hunger increased by 30% in few targeted countries. So how did this one person get this kind of control over global food, global health? How did he rise up to this place where he has control over literally everything around us and everything that matters to us?
Yeah. So once you have to make the first pitch. अगर आपका first throw of the dice has worked, then in the system it means that it follows. मेरे घर में हुआ, आपके घर में हुआ, मैं भी वही करूँगा. I will cite you my example of dealing with him. It worked like a dream. And those guys were okay in 10 days. So I'll also try that. That's how you increase your reach. And then once you've done that, then you start some other project. And you say, oh, he's the same guy who did that.
Right.
He must be good. So you move in there. Monsanto ke saath tie-up kar lo. You will get only seeds next time, for which you pay. Because you get no seed from the plant that we gave you. So that's how you expand there. That's how in all systems, that's how, your word spreads about how good you are at whatever you do. I'm not saying that they don't do any good, but they do make a lot of profit, and they spread a lot of ideas that they have about you and me. How to deal with Africa, why Africa? During COVID, which Western country gave a vaccine to the Africans?
None. I don't remember. I don't recall anyone.
We did.
Yes.
Even though we may not have had the full amount, but we did. They kept reserves which are 5 or 6 times more than they need. But they didn't do it. I remember one of the West Indies, Indian West Indies, Jamaica or Trinidad or somewhere, or maybe it's South Seas. The Prime Minister of that country came to him. He said, "You saved my country." The Americans could have given it to them. They were close by. They didn't. That's all for me. So पैसा बड़ी चीज़ है यार, बहुत बड़ी चीज़ है.
Right.
That is why I started my third book with wealth.
Yeah.
If you have the wealth, you have the control. If you have control, this is what you must have for the control. Yeah. I mean, there's no point having guns, but you have no money to fire the bloody bullet or buy a second bullet. So, पैसा है तो सब कुछ है.
Hmm.
Except two things, it doesn't necessarily give good health and longevity. It doesn't promise that.
Yeah.
Mm. Otherwise, power, yes. Absolute power, yes.
Hmm. So I want to talk about something जिसके ऊपर आपने मुझे बात करने से मना किया था, बट आई वॉन्ट टू नो द रीजन्स बिहाइंड दैट कि आपने मुझे मना क्यों किया था. वेर इन जब हमने बात की थी ऑन द कॉल कि हम किस टॉपिक्स के ऊपर इस पॉडकास्ट को करेंगे, तो आई हैड रिकमेंडेड दैट आई वॉन्ट टू अंडरस्टैंड पाकिस्तान फ्रॉम यू, and you said very interesting thing which was, I don't want to give that wretched country any kind of attention. What is the reasoning behind that?
Yeah, it's only a headache. You have to just manage that country. You know?
But sir,
We don't want to occupy it. We don't want, I don't think we should be eagerly awaiting a breakup because भाग के यहीं आएंगे. हाँ. So let them be. Let them do what they want to do. आपको आपका मुल्क मुबारक. जो करना है करो. अफगानिस्तान से लड़ना है लड़ो. सऊदी अरेबिया को जाके डिफेंड करना तो भेजो फोर्सेस. बलोचों को करना है तो करो. Baloch will one day break away, but that's another thing. So why should I? जब उसने कह ही दिया है, we are jihadis. We will fight. Kashmir belongs to us, and we will fight. Remember, we are jihadi Muslims. ये मुनीर ने कहा था ना.
just before Operation Sindoor.
हाँ, तो आप जब ऐसा बोल रहे हो, तो where is your dialogue? What are you going to achieve? आप उनके अब आपको you got hold of Trump because he jumped out of bed and says ceasefire, इनको बचा दिया, और now he's their favorite boy for solving Iran, getting them out of Iran. कुछ मिल जाएगा, पैसा वैसा मिल जाएगा और चले गए. पख्तून से लड़ो, तालिबान से लड़ो, सिंधी को काटो, बलूचियों से लड़ो, हमको क्या लेना देना है? कोई है उनका लीडर जो आपसे बात कर सकता है?
नहीं.
कोई है वो जो खुले दिल से बोलेगा मैं आपसे दोस्ती करता हूँ बिकॉज यूर हिंदू?
बिल्कुल नहीं है.
तो फिर आप काहे को, why do we get so worked up about Pakistan?
बट सर दिस इज व्हाट आई हैव फेल्ट ओवर द इयर्स कि हमारे यहाँ पे कोई भी प्राइम मिनिस्टर आज तक जो आए हैं उन्होंने हमेशा डायलॉग के तरफ एक वो झुकाव रहा है. इनफैक्ट नरेंद्र मोदी जी
हाँ,
भी जब
यही
बने थे
इसी
तो
शौक से गए थे.
एग्जैक्टली ये हम क्यों नहीं सीखते जब हमें इतनी बार एक ही तरीके का ट्रीटमेंट मिला है. स्टिल हमारे पॉलिटिशियंस क्यों एडमेंट रहते हैं कि नहीं हम बातचीत करेंगे, एक बार तो कोशिश करेंगे.
पता नहीं, आई थिंक दे थिंक दैट the Indian Muslim will be very happy if you make peace with Pakistan.
So can I tell you something honestly? I have a lot of मुस्लिम फ्रेंड्स, क्योंकि मैं बचपन में जिस लोकेलिटी में रहता था वहाँ पे बहुत मुस्लिम्स थे. जब ऑपरेशन सिंदूर चल रहा था, जितने मुझे डेटा पॉइंट्स आते थे कि आज इंडियन आर्मी ने ये कर दिया, ये कर दिया, ये कर दिया, ये मुझे मेरे मुस्लिम फ्रेंड्स भेजते थे. सो मेरे मुस्लिम फ्रेंड्स मुझे भेजते थे एंड दे वर हैप्पी कि इंडिया वहाँ पे
ठीक कर
अच्छे
रहा
से
है.
ठीक कर रहा है उन्हें. सो व्हाई डू पॉलिटिशियंस कीप
They don't understand, no? They don't understand that this is a changed India. Did you see that clip, yesterday's clip on TV? There's this girl, Nazia something. She went to this lens cart.
Yeah.
है ना? Lens cart में they say कि you can't wear a tilak, you
Right.
can't do this, but you're allowed to wear hijab. So she is telling the owner कि You will not let me. And I brought tilak for all the males and she
Yeah.
put tilak on them. Now that is the kind of India that we are going to have. And that is also, I think, among the Muslims, there is an awareness that this is the best place for India, for Indian Muslim. For India is the best place. आपको कोई ऐसे ही पकड़ के नहीं ले जाएगा. तुम नमाज करते हो तो करो, कोई पकड़ के नहीं ले जाएगा. Or you will get a job in the GOI if you have got good marks. Huh? And the private sector will employ you if you are intelligent or smart. Religion is not the concern of many of us. But our politicians seem to think कि वोट मिलना है तो ऐसे ही करना पड़ेगा. And they have actually queered the pitch, all sides, by insisting on doing this. So अगर आप मंदिर बनाते हो तब भी नाराजगी होती है, न बनाओ तो दूसरा साइड नाराज हो जाता है. ये शुरू से गड़बड़ करी है. No. We are a Hindu, we are a democracy with a majority which is Hindu. United States is a majority where the majority are Christians. And there are so many countries in the world where majorities are Christian and there are democracies. So why can't... and if 7, how many countries? 56 or 26 countries are Muslim?
56.
56. They're all Islamic. वो तो आपको एक्सेप्टेबल है. इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ पाकिस्तान, इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ बांग्लादेश, इस्लामिक रिपब्लिक ऑफ ईरान और अफगानिस्तान, वो सब सही है. हमने तो नहीं कहा कि वी आर द हिंदू रिपब्लिक ऑफ इंडिया. वी आर जस्ट द रिपब्लिक ऑफ इंडिया. And genuinely, I think that's how we are. So ये हमको कहना कि where did we start this?
We started off from हमारे politicians को ये चीज़ समझ क्यों नहीं आती.
अरे अब
Dialogue is not the way.
नहीं, वो तो बहुत अकलमंद है actually. But I don't know, we just don't seem to get the courage to say, this is it, mate. We are Indians first, our religion the second, our sub-regionalism is third, and sub-regional and our language are in that order. We are all alike. We eat the same food. We dress the same way. Huh? And what else do we do? Language वही है, खाना वही है. The other everyday things in life. So why should anybody feel threatened here?
Of course.
By religion? No. At least not from the Hindus. Not that kind. Not made that.
पर सर ये हमने जो पॉलिटिशियंस की बात की ना, इसमें भी बिकॉज हमने जो देखा कि जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी का वो जो फर्स्ट टर्म था उसमें वो पाकिस्तान विजिट करते हैं, वो पीएम की बेटी की शादी अटेंड करने के लिए, एंड उसके बाद में हमें मल्टीपल बार पता चलता है कि दिस इज़ नॉट द वे. एंड देन आई थिंक यू हैव मेंशन्ड इन द बुक ऑल्सो कि 26/11 के बाद में हमने रिटेलिएशन नहीं किया वर्सेस पहलगाम हुआ तो हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर किया. बिटवीन दिस टाइमलाइन ऐसा क्या बदला? इज इट जस्ट पॉलिटिकल विल दैट चेंज्ड और देयर वर अदर फैक्टर्स कि हमने ऑपरेशन सिंदूर जैसा एक ऑपरेशन किया? बिकॉज ऑफ कोर्स ऑपरेशन सिंदूर करने के लिए भी आपके पास में उतने सोर्सेस होने चाहिए, आपके पास में रिसोर्सेस होने चाहिए. आपने वॉर गेम करके रखा होगा ऑलरेडी, तभी आपने इतने इजीली और इतने जल्दी वो पूरा ट्रूप डिप्लॉयमेंट कर दिया. सो क्या बदला इस टाइमलाइन के दौरान?
I think Modi's visit to meet Nawaz Sharif gave an indication कि कुछ नहीं बदलेगा पाकिस्तान का.
Okay.
That's my interpretation. He realized that it's a fool's errand to try and make peace with them. नहीं हो सकता. फौज से हम बात नहीं कर सकते, करेंगे, पॉलिटिशियंस के पास दम नहीं है. So we have to learn to live with them and act on and react to them. So 2016 में उड़ी में किया. आई थिंक 2018 या 19 में
19
कुपवाड़ा में था. तीसरा वाला किया अपने
सीआरपीएफ कॉन्वॉय
पहलगाम वाला.
पहलगाम, ओके.
पुलवामा में था दूसरा वाला, ये पहलगाम था. Obviously, this is not an operation that they sat down and worked out on the night of April 21. This must have been war gamed over and over again. Who will do when, where, and what? They had fixed the targets. They had fixed the timing. They fixed everything. That's how I look at it. So that is a short, swift operation in bomb, get out. वो जब उन्होंने शोर मचाना शुरू किया, 5 गिरा दिए, 6 गिरा दिए, okay, buddies, we are coming back. So we went in again. So we had a purpose, we had worked at it, and we did it.
Right.
The intelligence was good. They must have practiced this. The runs, not on Pakistan, but on your own territory. Yeah. Which aircraft takes off from where, and you to coordinate everything. All that it gave you the feeling of a professional armed force working together.
So, हमने ऑफ रैंप की भी तैयारी की होगी?
हाँ ऐसा हो गया ना, वो कूद पड़ा ना अपने पलंग से. Although that's not how we would have done it. ठीक है यार, इसको नहीं कर दिया तो you want to take credit, take it. Our limited objective was achieved. We don't want to stay on there, because you stay on and you get losses, and then you get all sorts of stories that you come with an occupying force or A or O. Then the international communities will get in, they'll take it to UN, all that Jamila is gone. And the world cannot say you were wrong. It cannot say you shouldn't have done it. I'm doing it for my country's safety. This is a terror attack. और हमने बोल रखा था कि अगली दफा हम फिर आएंगे, घुस के मारेंगे ना. So we told them. So that's how it worked, and they've been. अभी फिर होगा. I'm not saying this. They will still try. They're made differently.
रेड फोर्ट पे उन्होंने कोशिश की भी थी.
कब?
दिल्ली में जो रेड फोर्ट वाला एक एक्सीडेंटल ब्लास्ट जो हुआ, they tried again.
वो हम चुप रह गए. Maybe circumstances were different. I don't know about that. So this is how we are.
But sir, I want to ask you one last thing कि जिसके ऊपर हम ऑफ द कैमरा बात कर रहे थे, नैरेटिव, जो जिसके ऊपर हम ऑफ द कैमरा बात कर रहे थे, नैरेटिव्स की जो हम बात कर रहे थे. दिस इज, आई मीन, एवरीवन नोज नाउ कि नैरेटिव वॉर में हम कहीं ना कहीं लैक करते हैं, और ऑप सिंदूर के बाद भी हमने किया. बट यू सेड वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग थिंग, नैरेटिव वॉरफेयर, यू विन द मोमेंट आपने पहले नैरेटिव चला दिया, बिकॉज फिर आगे वाले को काउंटर करना है. इफ यू आर काउंटरिंग देन यू हैव ऑलरेडी लॉस्ट द नैरेटिव. सो ये इस चीज को हमने वॉर गेम क्यों नहीं किया था? इफ वी
I've asked this question. I've mentioned it. This is a mistake. We should have had our press notes and all ready, prepared. At 1 o'clock in the night, we've done this. We've attacked. We've done this. Finished. Crisp, 1 pager, half pager. You won the battle. Only this. Then the details will come tomorrow.
Yeah, I think वो विंडो हमने खो दिया वहाँ पे.
You know, I do something wrong. And how should I put it? You take action against me and I retaliate. And then I say, look, I've done this to him. Then they say, no, he's done nothing. हमने एक्चुअली किया था, हमने गिरा दिया, तो बात नहीं बनती ना.
करेक्ट.
वो गोल इक्वलाइजर ही होता, but at best it's not victory.
या
Get in there first, man. Perceptions जो है ना, mind and human being के, they are very strong. And you must get in there first. You have a TV camera interviewing a base commander, interviewing a military general. This is what we did today. इसके तो Air Force से था सारा. We did this. The Air Chief comes on the air and says, countrymen, this is what we've done.
So I think we lost that battle on two grounds. One जो आपने कहा, and second उसे हम amplify करने में भी वो हार गए, because I am a content creator. मेरा काम ही है amplify करना चीज़ों को. This podcast जो हमने अभी बात की, what is this if not narrative warfare? When this clip goes out, it is a part of the narrative. बट हमने इसमें भी हम बहुत पीछे है पाकिस्तान से. एक्चुअली हमें ये सीखना चाहिए कि नैरेटिव कंट्रोल कैसे करते हैं, नैरेटिव सेट कैसे करते हैं, बिकॉज दे हैव अ कमांड एंड कंट्रोल सेंटर फॉर दिस. वी डोंट अनफॉर्चुनेटली, एंड आई डोंट नो कि वो कब बनेगा, हमारी प्लानिंग है या नहीं. आई डोंट हैव दैट काइंड ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन, बट I feel we need a command and control center. We need narrative to be set on various levels. It just cannot be one news channel talking about a certain thing that we have done.
That doesn't
It has to
work.
be 24/7. It has to be journalists. It has to be
All-
authors,
all
filmmakers,
aspects,
content creators.
All weapons considered.
Yeah. It has to be a swarm of information that goes out. बिकॉज एक आपने न्यूज़ पीस बाहर कर दिया, उससे तो कुछ होने नहीं वाला. बिकॉज आई एम अ कंटेंट क्रिएटर. आई वाज टेलिंग यू ऑफ द कैमरा कि द मोमेंट दिस पॉडकास्ट गोज आउट एंड पाकिस्तान की जैसी बात होगी, आई फॉर अ फैक्ट नो कि जितने पाकिस्तानी यूट्यूब पे है, जितने हमारे सब्सक्राइबर्स हैं, ऑल ऑफ देम विल कम एंड दे विल स्टार्ट कमेंटिंग 50, 60, 70. किसी दिन वो नंबर 30 भी कर देंगे वो, बट दे विल स्टार्ट कमेंटिंग दिस. उनके क्रिकेटर्स सर टूर्नामेंट के बीच में 60 कर रहे हैं. So they set the narrative on every level.
What is
जिसमें हम
60?
according to them उन्होंने हमारे 6 रफाल गिरा दिए. So 60. तो उनके क्रिकेटर्स भी when they are playing tournaments, I think वर्ल्ड कप था या कोई एशिया कप था, उसमें भी they were doing the same thing. So they actually were very clever. उन्होंने हर किसी को ऑर्डर दे रखा था, जो भी है जहाँ पे भी है करो.
You know, an autocratic regime is easier to do it. हमारे यहाँ तो we are very fond of pulling the thing government down at whatever. It doesn't matter when, where, for what.
I mean, we have opposition who still questions the Balakot strikes. So
हाँ, अपने आप ही पूछना शुरू कर दिए बालाकोट में कितने मारे हैं. अरे भाई, it was not meant to kill really. It was messaging. They don't want to take it. So we are
one last thing which I'll ask you on the podcast, because हमारी ऑडियंस में बहुत सारे ऐसे लोग हैं जो 25 to 45 के एज ग्रुप में है, which is your hardcore energy of India.
Yep.
What is your one piece of advice to them and to people like me who are just wanting to take India ahead, but there are of course बहुत red tapeism है, बहुत सारे issues है, but still we are trying. But is there anything specific that you would want the youth of India to understand and to do to take India ahead?
The youth of India is the future of India. So I want the youth of India to remember one thing. We all take a fall in our lives now and then. It's not how you fall that matters. It's how you rise. How you rise. Brush your knees and get on with it. So they must have that ability. We all dream. We all have our dreams. We have hope of fulfillment. तो बाधाएं आएंगी बीच में, प्रॉब्लम्स होंगी, गिरावट होगी, फिर आप खड़े होके फिर चलिए आगे. And you will reach your destination. और ये मौका जो है ना, next 10 years, ये बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है. ये स्लॉट जो है, यूथ स्लॉट, कोहोर्ट of the employable under 45s or whatever, will not happen again for 300 years. So unless we make the maximum use, and this is my message to the corporate sector, please do find jobs for them. Because the governments can't find jobs. They're not there. They are supposed to ease the ability. And then my request to the governments is, please create conditions for the corporate sector to find jobs and for the young to find education and the jobs. So that's how it should be.
Right. So what is it that you have realized now at the age where you are? Because it is almost in this conversation and from the books that I've read that you have written and the conversations that you've had on other podcast interviews that you have done, I have realized this one thing, that it is almost as if you have escaped the matrix and you see the world from a very different level, also because of your profession in which you were. What is that one thing which you have actually seen, but people like me, people like him, or anyone in the audience, they still cannot see or they don't realize?
ऐसा तो मैंने कभी सोचा ही नहीं यार. Really, when I say something which I think is new, everybody nods. But doesn't necessarily mean that they haven't thought of it themselves. They're probably just in agreement with me. So how can I say कि ये तो इनको तो पता ही नहीं, हमको तो पता ही नहीं था ये. Unless they themselves say हमको नहीं मालूम था ये.
Yeah.
So it's quite. I will become a Trump if I think that you guys didn't know anything. Only I can give wisdom.
So I would much prefer you over Trump.
Thank God.
But sir, thank you so much for this conversation. It was truly an enlightening conversation. I think I would want to do many more podcasts with you, क्योंकि मैंने जिस तरह से आपसे पॉडकास्ट के पहले कहा था कि बहुत सारी चीज़ें हैं जिनके ऊपर आई वांटेड टू टॉक. आज मैंने कोशिश की कि मैं हर अपने थॉट को जॉट डाउन कर लूँ. शायद वो बहुत जम्बल्ड अप लगे होंगे आपको और ऑडियंसेस को.
It's a conversation. I think it's a conversation where you can jump from one to the other and then come back to the first one and then
I hope so you enjoyed it, sir.
Because that's how I think. वो एक क्वेश्चन पूछा, जवाब देके दूसरे पे चले गए, जवाब देके तीसरे पे. मेरे से भी नहीं होता.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, boys. Thank you.